The year was 2479 when the Galactic Dominion made the decision that would haunt the universe forever. Humanity had become too innovative, too unpredictable, and too united. Every decade humans invented technologies that other civilizations required centuries to understand. Their scientists bent gravity into highways, their engineers forged stars into engines, and their explorers crossed black holes as if they were rivers. The Dominion feared not what humans were, but what they would become. So instead of declaring war, they launched Operation Tomorrow. Hidden beneath the event horizon of an artificial singularity, they activated the chronosiphon, a machine capable of stealing an entire civilization's future. In a single silent pulse, every human colony across known space lost thousands of years of scientific progress. Databases became blank, quantum AIS collapsed into primitive code, advanced shipyards forgot how to build their greatest vessels, and every blueprint beyond the current age simply vanished. Humanity awoke to discover that its destiny had been erased. The Dominion celebrated. Without its future, humanity would remain permanently behind every alien empire. The Senate declared the species contained forever. Across the galaxy monuments were built celebrating the end of human evolution. But there was one thing the Dominion never knew. Long before the attack, Earth's greatest physicist, Dr. Elena Voss, had predicted someone would eventually try to weaponize time itself. Deep beneath Antarctica she had built Project Horizon, an impossible arc hidden outside conventional space-time. When the chronosiphon activated, Horizon disappeared, not into the past, but beyond the end of time itself. Inside were 10,000 volunteers, Earth's greatest scientists, soldiers, artists, engineers, historians, children, and dreamers. They carried humanity's untouched future with them. To the galaxy they had vanished forever. To themselves, only a single day had passed. But outside, 50,000 years rolled by. Civilizations rose and collapsed. Empires that once ruled millions of worlds became forgotten ruins orbiting dead stars. The Dominion fractured into hundreds of rival kingdoms. Entire constellations changed shape. Meanwhile, beyond time, Horizon continued its mission. The arc reached the final age of the universe, where stars had faded into darkness and only quantum echoes remained. There humanity found something unimaginable, the Origin Archive, a structure older than reality itself. Built by beings who existed before the Big Bang, it contained the complete engineering language of existence. Humanity learned not merely how physics worked but why it worked. They discovered gravity could be rewritten like software. Space could be folded into tools. Time itself became another engineering material. Aging became optional. Matter became programmable. Death became negotiable. Their civilization evolved beyond biology without losing its humanity. They built living starships grown from conscious matter. Cities floated inside folded dimensions larger than galaxies. Artificial intelligences became citizens rather than servants. They created suns from mathematics and oceans from quantum probability. While every alien empire believed humanity had been frozen in the past, the survivors had become the architects of reality itself. Finally, after millions of years of research at the end of existence, the Origin Archive revealed one last truth. Time was circular. Every ending connected to every beginning. Humanity could return, not merely to its own era, but to any moment they chose. The council gathered inside the Hall of Dawn. Admiral Marcus Hale looked upon the final universe outside the transparent walls, where only darkness remained. The galaxy stole our future, he said quietly. So we borrowed the future from the end of time. Thousands of citizens nodded. They activated the return gates. Across the Milky Way of the year 2479, strange white stars suddenly appeared in orbit around Earth. Alien observatories panicked. Sensors identified impossible energy signatures that violated every physical law. Then the stars unfolded. They were not stars at all, but ships. Millions of kilometers long, each vessel resembled a galaxy sculpted into elegant silver architecture. Their engines emitted not light but probability itself. Space bent respectfully around them. Time slowed near their hulls. Gravity refused to touch them. Earth, which had been occupied peacefully by Dominion administrators for centuries, watched in stunned silence as the sky filled with impossible fleets. Every radio frequency across the galaxy received one calm message. This is the United Human Continuum. We have returned from the end of time. We are here to reclaim our future. Panic spread instantly. Dominion High Chancellor Vorak ordered every fleet to attack before the newcomers established orbit. 20 million warships accelerated toward Earth. Human commanders simply watched. They did not fire weapons because they no longer needed weapons. One human vessel projected a quiet blue wave. Every hostile ship stopped simultaneously. Their reactors shut down. Their missiles dissolved into harmless dust. Their targeting computers politely apologized in thousands of alien languages before powering off forever. Engineers later discovered the humans had rewritten the local laws of physics. Violence simply no longer functioned within Earth's orbit. The Dominion unleashed planet-cracking cannons. The energy beams transformed into fields of flowers drifting harmlessly through space. Biological superweapons evolved backward into harmless microbes. Artificial black holes collapsed into glowing butterflies of dark matter. Humanity had not merely built better technology, they had rewritten the definitions of possibility. The galaxy watched in disbelief. Entire fleets surrendered without firing another shot. Yet humanity demanded no revenge. Admiral Hale addressed every civilization. 50,000 years ago you stole our future because you feared what we might become. We have seen the final chapter of existence. We know how every empire ends. We know every war eventually becomes regret. We know every civilization either learns compassion or disappears. We did not return to conquer you. We returned because the future belongs to everyone, not because it can be stolen, but because it can be shared. Some refused to believe. The Crimson Imperium challenged humanity with the largest armada ever assembled. 1 billion warships emerged around the galactic core. Humanity answered with a single explorer vessel. Instead of attacking, the human ship opened a window into the end of time. Every admiral aboard the enemy fleet saw the silent darkness awaiting all civilizations if hatred continued. They witnessed dead galaxies, forgotten wars, and lonely empires that had achieved absolute victory only to inherit empty universes. Thousands of commanders resigned immediately. Millions of soldiers abandoned their weapons. Entire governments collapsed under the realization that conquest was meaningless against eternity. Over the following decades, humanity rebuilt what had been lost. Not by ruling, but by teaching. Worlds suffering famine received programmable ecosystems. Dying stars were healed. Ancient enemies were connected through quantum diplomacy. Diseases vanished. Scarcity became history. Exploration replaced expansion. Every civilization was offered access to the Origin archive, except one section. The chapter explaining how to manipulate time remained sealed forever. When questioned, Dr. Elena Voss, now older than galaxies yet still smiling warmly, answered simply, "A future shared is hope. A future controlled is tyranny." The galaxy accepted her wisdom. Centuries later, children from thousands of species studied the story of Operation Tomorrow in school. They learned how fear had tried to erase a civilization's destiny and how that civilization responded not with vengeance, but with wisdom gathered at the end of time. Every classroom ended the lesson with the same inscription carved beneath the Human Continuum flag: "You can steal humanity's future only once." Because if humans lose tomorrow, they will simply return from the end of time and build a better one. The legend of humanity's return spread farther than any fleet could travel. For centuries, every species believed the story had reached its perfect ending. Peace flourished. Borders disappeared. Trade routes became corridors of knowledge instead of commerce. Entire civilizations dedicated themselves to exploration rather than conquest. The Human Continuum refused every crown offered to it, serving instead as guardians of the Accord of Tomorrow, a treaty stating that no civilization would ever again interfere with another's future. Yet beneath the calm surface of the universe, something ancient had awakened. Deep inside the abandoned Origin archive, hidden behind 13 reality locks that even humanity had never opened, a signal began. It began with a silence. Not the silence of empty space, but something infinitely stranger. One by one, every quantum communicator across the universe stopped transmitting for exactly 1 second. Every clock halted. Every pulsar froze in perfect synchronization. Even the ancient stars paused their fusion as though reality itself had taken a single breath. When time resumed, a message appeared simultaneously on every screen, every hologram, every neural implant, and every conscious AI. The first human has been found. Confusion swept across the galaxy. How could that be possible? Humanity had complete records stretching back millions of years. Every ancestor had been documented. Every civilization preserved. There was no first human left to discover. Deep beneath Earth's original African Rift Valley, however, sensors detected something impossible. A cavern that had never existed before had appeared beneath solid bedrock. It ignored gravity. It emitted no heat, no radiation, and no measurable energy. Yet every instrument insisted it was older than the universe itself. Dr. Elena Voss, now regarded as the oldest living being in existence, personally led the expedition. The entrance resembled a doorway carved from absolute darkness. As she stepped inside, every member of the team experienced different memories. Some saw childhood. Some saw humanity's first moon landing. Others saw futures that had not yet happened. The corridor finally opened into an enormous chamber. At its center stood a single stone chair. Seated upon it was a man. He looked completely ordinary. Dark hair. Simple clothing. No armor. No advanced technology. He appeared no older than 30. Yet the scanners surrounding him refused to function. His age displayed only one word. Unknown. The man slowly opened his eyes. He smiled warmly at Elena. I wondered how long it would take. Elena felt something she had not experienced in millions of years. Fear. Not because he seemed dangerous. Because he seemed familiar. Who are you? She whispered. The stranger stood. My name has been forgotten many times. He glanced toward the distant ceiling, as though looking beyond the planet itself. But once. They called me Adam. Silence consumed the chamber. Every historian present immediately rejected the claim. Impossible. Adam belonged to myth, religion, ancient storytelling. Human civilization had long accepted that no single individual could truly represent humanity's beginning. The stranger simply laughed. Not that Adam. He pointed upward. The first human, not born on Earth. No one moved. The first human, he continued, born before this universe existed. Every scientific law humanity had spent millions of years mastering shattered in a single sentence. Elena activated the Origin archive through her neural link. For the first time since humanity had discovered it, the archive responded with an unfamiliar symbol. Authorized user detected. The doors surrounding the chamber opened automatically. Entire sections of knowledge previously locked forever suddenly became accessible. Every restriction vanished. The archive recognized the stranger as its creator. You built it? Elena whispered. No. He smiled again. I built the people who built it. Around them, reality began unfolding into gigantic holographic memories. They witnessed another universe. One unimaginably older than their own. A civilization of humans existed there, not merely advanced, but transcendent. They had learned to create universes as effortlessly as artists painted pictures. When their own cosmos reached its natural end, they faced a choice. Die? Or begin again? They chose sacrifice. Those ancient humans compressed everything they had learned into the Origin archive and planted it before the birth of a new universe. Then they erased themselves from history. Not out of failure. Out of hope. So, Admiral Hale whispered. We're? The stranger nodded. The second humanity. Every person present struggled to comprehend the revelation. Everything humanity believed unique. Every achievement. Every discovery. Had once existed before. But the stranger raised a finger. Do not mistake inheritance for imitation. He looked proudly at Elena. The first humanity survived the end of one universe. You became worthy of creating the next. Those words echoed across the chamber. Then the floor beneath them transformed into transparent crystal. Below lay something no telescope had ever seen. Not another galaxy. Not another universe. But countless tiny points of light. Each one was an unborn cosmos. Billions of universes. Waiting. The stranger extended his hand toward Elena. The builders passed the trial. The protectors passed the examination. Now, will humanity become the gardeners? The chamber trembled as every unborn universe began glowing. Each awaited a single decision. What kind of reality should exist next? For the first time in all of existence, humanity stood not at the end of time, but at the beginning of countless futures. And every civilization in the galaxy looked toward Earth, knowing that the next chapter would not determine the fate of one species. It would determine the fate of everything that could ever exist.